Hey everybody, welcome back to the Thrillcat Cinema Lab. Again, it's kind of my CEDIA preview a couple of weeks here. It's hard to believe that we're already into August and prepping to head to Denver again, but I'm trying to find some inside information on what we might expect to see at CEDIA. And today we have one of everyone's favorites who's always there at CEDIA. I have Chuck back from Trinnov Audio here. Chuck, welcome to the lab.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Excellent. So I'm guessing you folks there are pretty busy getting ready for CEDIA.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of work that goes into that. It takes up a lot of the summer hours, and we're counting down the time. We're basically a month away now.
It's always exciting, but I think people would be surprised how much work actually, when planning for these CEDIA things actually begins. It's it's definitely work intensive.
Yeah. It starts while you're at the next year's show starts while you're at the show because you've got to reserve your space for the following year.
Sure.
And then it just goes from there.
Yep. Different situation or setup for Trinnov this year. You know, rumors have been swirling that you may not have the Officina Acoustica, the beautiful room that you have built this time around. You might have a different focus this time around.
Yeah, we have exhibited with elaborate multi-subwoofer waveforming demonstrations with multiple speaker partners and Officina Acoustica for the room. And we've retired that. We're doing a more standard presentation this year. It's not focused on an audio demo. We're going to be meeting with our partners and prospective customers, talking about what's new, what's coming, answering questions. We're going to do a little bit of training for dealers. That I think is going to be very, very beneficial, and more of a low-key, personal, interactive presentation.
Right. People will still be able to hear Trinnov processors and amplification at the show. However, though, it's not like you're not going to bring any of the product. It'll be there. It'll be in rooms. It just won't be maybe the same one they've gone into in the past.
Yeah, we've got 7 exhibits that are going to be active using Trinnov processors, including the Lumagen demo.
Excellent. The Paragons of home cinema.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But you mentioned you're going to be doing a more traditional space and talking about what's new and what's hot. What's new and what's hot, Chuck?
Yeah, well, the announcement that we've just made has to do with an upcoming software upgrade. That's something that will be happening later in the year. It's a completely revised user interface that is fresh and very well designed. It's beautiful, really, and much more streamlined and a more efficient workflow. And it has an underlying improvement to the entire software package. So it's something that is going to be very helpful for the end user who's more of a hobbyist doing setups and calibrations, all the way through to the most advanced calibrators that are using all of the tools that are available in the Altitude.
Awesome. So aside from being a little more streamlined, maybe a little more easy for someone who wants to get in and do it on their own instead of a dealer, are there new features added, or is this really just a better interface?
Well, the interface will be more logical in terms of the flow. There'll be more information presented on particular screens, so it'll require less navigation to look at what might be happening while you're working on settings. But there is, as part of the upgrade, we are going to be updating all of the codecs. So there will be a new Dolby Atmos implementation, new DTSX, and Oro 3D. And one of the things that has been among the most requested is the Dolby upgrade will enable the use of wide speakers in the up mixer. And that's been a long-standing request, and that will become available.
Excellent. Excellent.
So the upgrade is going to be rolled out towards the end of the year. It's first going to appear in new altitude 16s and 32s. But we are holding back a bit on the availability of the upgrade to the extent that we're going to require a dealer or Trinnov to do the update rather than enabling people to perform their own updates. For a simple reason, this is a major upgrade to the software, and it's going to require a recalibration. All of the updates that we've done through the years, in addition to being free, of course, have preserved all of the settings and all of the calibration. Because this is a fundamental change, the customers, the integrators are going to have to do a new calibration. And we just want to be absolutely certain that no one's going to be attempting to do an upgrade and find out too late that they've lost their settings. Sure. We're announcing it well in advance so that people that may have a calibration scheduled over the next couple of months are aware. We don't want someone to be paying for a calibration to find out that it's going to have to be redone a month or two later. So that's the caveat. We just want to make sure everyone understands that if they're an existing Trinnov owner. Once this is complete, we'll be back to the normal cycle of upgrades, and they will, of course, preserve all of the settings that are there.
Gotcha. Will this update, will it affect the API at all for those who are using it for remote controls and automations?
Well, everything that is in the control package and all of the third-party control functionality, all of that's going to be preserved.
Okay.
So they're going to be fine.
Okay. Excellent. Very good. And will this new, I'm imagining we're going to see get walkthroughs and demos of this interface at your exhibit. Yes. at CEDIA. Will this be installed on the units that are running other demos? Is it that?
No, it will not. Okay. They'll be running the conventional software.
Okay.
The current software, I should say, and what we'll have machines loaded for basically static demonstration purposes.
Okay.
So people will be able to see what the changes are and potentially do some navigation on their own.
Okay. So you were saying folks will be able to see it and maybe get a little bit of hands-on, but it's not going to be powering the demos yet in this.
Correct.
Okay.
They'll be running the current software.
Excellent. So speaking of the demos, you're going to be in with the Lumagen room. What brought you together with Jim and Lumagen?
Well, we've had a relationship with Lumagen for a long time. Jim has used an altitude in his personal system for many years now. And he reached out to us saying that he was putting this package of Paragons together. Mm-hmm. And it sounded like a worthwhile place for us to participate, even though we weren't doing our own major demo. Sure. It's an opportunity for us to have a demo where people can experience a high-level presentation, mm-hmm. maybe not quite as fancy a room, maybe not quite as many seats, right. But the audio quality should be excellent, considering the partners. And in fact, we're going to be running waveforming, so that we'll be using next level subs for waveforming with circular waveforming, 4 subwoofers, 2 in the front, 2 in the back.
Sure.
And we're expecting a very powerful experience mm-hmm. based on the demo material that we seem to be selecting right now.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, I have to admit I run all next level acoustics speakers in my theater, and I'm excited to hear them run with the Trinnov in this room and everything else that's going on. I spoke with Jim previously and kind of realized, I have a Lumagen, I have the next level acoustics, I have Valencia home theater seating, and I have a Seymour-Screen. So I'm halfway there.
Yeah. Very nice.
Excellent. What other rooms will you be showing in? Or
Well, we're partnering with Crix, K-Ray. Kaleidoscape is going to be running multiple of altitudes for their large demo. Alcons is doing an elaborate demo. All of these are pretty substantial demos. Also, the Phase Tech folks and Procella.
excellent. All very, very high quality stuff, and putting together some really good systems and some really good teams with those names that you just listed off. So.
And we work with them as we assist them at the show if they need some help with calibration. We've got a substantial team there with calibration experience, so we always make sure that they get their systems tuned exactly the way they want them.
Right. So let's talk a little bit, kind of high level, about what is it about Trinnov that sets it apart? Everyone, there are definitely known kind of levels of performance from different brands in this space. And Trinnov is, I've never seen them mentioned anywhere, more than an inch away from the top of the performers. Trinnov just has that reputation. But, what is it that sets a Trinnov apart from something that you could get at a Magnolia at the Best Buy if you went in and said, give me the best? What is it that sets Trinnov apart?
It starts with the hardware software platform. Every other receiver or processor, even the higher end products, are built around a decoding chip that's made by a manufacturer like Cirrus Logic or any of the companies that are selling to a wide range of manufacturers. So that chip will do the decoding for a relatively inexpensive receiver. It may also be seen in an expensive separate product. That chip is going to have capabilities baked into it. Right. It's not going to have all of the possibilities because of cost considerations and the fact that they're going to be making hundreds of thousands of them. So there are some inherent limitations there. There's limitations in terms of processing capability. There's limitations in terms of decoding capability. All of the Trinnov products from day one were built around multi-core processor, an Intel multi-core processor that has vastly more computing capability than you're going to get with chipset or Shark processors or whatever a manufacturer chooses to use. So because we have this computing capability and because we are running on effectively a PC, we can do everything in our own software. So we have our own Linux operating system and all of the processing, all of the decoding, all of the optimization is being done in Trinnov custom software. As an example, with the Dolby code, we don't have the truncated version that appears on a chip. We import the full golden code from Dolby and import it right directly into our software. So we've got the full decoding. And now we're going to have the benefit, of course, of the very latest version, so we can get your wides working on upmixing. And on top of that, and this is where the real differentiation comes in, our optimizer software is the most advanced speaker and room correction system anywhere on the planet. It's used obviously in residential systems, in high-end home theaters, in hi-fi systems, but it's also used in close to 5,000 professional recording studios, where it's been used for over 15 years. People who are making a living making critical decisions, and anyone who's interested in learning more about that, our YouTube channel has literally dozens of interviews with professional sound mixers talking about how valuable the optimizer is in their working environments. and how it's a tool that they don't want to ever give up.
Right.
And it's been particularly valuable since the pandemic shut down, where a lot of mixing moved from studios to residences, sometimes apartments, where the small bedroom is where the mix is being done, and that's where the speaker room correction is even more important than it is in an optimized room.
Right.
So the optimizer is a time-based correction system that looks at multiple aspects of the acoustics of the room and the performance of the speakers in the room, and applies a surgical kind of correction. Most of the correction systems tend to take more of a Band-Aid approach. They'll take an acoustic picture and they'll say, well, we're going to fix this here and that. We're going to try to get the frequency response where we want it. But the optimizer is looking at multiple elements. We're looking at early arrival, direct arrival from the speakers, the direct sound. We're looking at early reflections. We're looking at the modes of the room. We're looking at the overall energy. We're looking at the reverberation, the decay times, the sound power. All of these things are addressed separately, and because we're doing the time-based measurements, we're able to correct for impulse response and phase. And the net result is it's not just a bunch of speakers in a room producing sound. You can hear sound coming from everywhere. When everything is aligned so that all of the frequencies from all of the speakers are arriving at your ear at the same time, you get a seamless bubble and the speakers go away. You're no longer perceiving sound coming from a source. There's just sound in the space as you hear it naturally. Beyond that, because it's software, there are things we can do in terms of technology, which I can talk about further.
Well, I was gonna mention, you talk about how, most products in this category, I guess, not class, but most products in this category are pulling a processor chip off, from a manufacturer and installing it. You're kind of taking that also just to the theories and the software development. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Trinnov initially just a research company that started implementing their research into the products?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The three founders met at graduate school studying advanced acoustics, and their interest was primarily as scientists, not as businessmen. So the first several years of Trinnov were involved in research into three-dimensional sound fields.
Okay.
So they built a 3D sound capture microphone using multiple elements and a playback system that they used to establish what was necessary to replicate a natural sound field. At the time they started, which was just in the very early 2000s, a lot of audio advancements that we have today were already in place. There was 24-bit, 96K. Not a whole lot of improvement could be done there. Right. And they realized that the dimensional aspect of sound was something that was not really being deeply researched. So that's the direction they went into. The optimizer came out of that work because they realized that in order to create that seamless sound field, you had to have all the speakers working together. Right. They all had to be delivering sound to your ear in a phase-aligned fashion. So that led to the creation of the optimizer, and at that point, that was something that could be manufactured, and that's when Trinnov became a commercial enterprise, working initially with other research agencies and then starting to work with recording studios.
And the microphone that you use, is the microphone the optimizer? Is the software the optimizer? Or are they a package, the optimizer?
Well, the optimizer really refers to the software,
okay.
But the software requires the microphone in order to capture the information necessary. So
Yeah.
the microphone is 4 elements. It's unique. No one else has anything like it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is how we are capturing the information, basically the impulse response information we need to perform the optimizer benefits.
Right.
One of the aspects of the microphone, because it uses 4 elements, is that it is able to capture the spatial information. When a loudspeaker emits the test tone, that sound passes each of the 4 capsules at a slightly different time.
Mm-hmm.
And with that information, we can triangulate, and we're able to locate the speaker within 1 or 2 degrees of elevation in azimuth and 1 or 2 centimeters of distance. So we were able to build a very accurate 3D map of every room. And then that brings in our remapping technology, which is a patented technology that uses the principle of stereo imaging. So as you're listening to a stereo recording with 2 speakers, you hear the vocalist coming from the center as if he's standing there. We're taking that to a 3-dimensional aspect. And so we're using adjacent speakers to create an image in the location where you should hear it when you are unable to put the speakers in the correct locations. You run into a doorway, you run into a window, maybe there's a beam in the ceiling. Remapping will take an existing layout and optimize the location so you hear the sounds coming from where the sound mixer put them.
What else might be on the horizon, CEDIA and beyond for Trinnov?
Well, I would mention that we have this is existing technology, but it's available to anyone who has a machine or anyone who buys a machine, and it's our waveforming. Waveforming is the result of about now 8 years of research, basic research into solving was one of the most difficult problems, maybe the most difficult problem in reproducing sound in small rooms. And that's the performance at low frequencies. We have standing waves that are based on the dimensions of the room. And that means that in a given seat, some frequencies are going to be much louder. Other frequencies are going to seem to disappear. Mm-hmm. There are multiple ways of trying to address that. With one subwoofer, you have a serious problem unless you only have one seat. Right. So people go to 2 subwoofers, better to go to 4 subwoofers. Advanced calibrators can do a lot of work to try to balance levels and delays among the subs and EQing. But none of those things resolve the basic issue, which is that standing waves are being created. Right. We're just trying to get around them and just kind of pushing all the subs to mask the irregularities. Right. What waveforming does in its optimal implementation, and there are 3 levels of implementation, so it doesn't require rebuilding your room. Mm-hmm. But with an optimal implementation, a certain number of subs go into the front wall. They don't go in the floor. They don't go in the corners. A certain number of subs go in the back wall, and they go to specific locations because we want to place them so they can function as an array. And with an array of subwoofers or array of speakers, you can steer sound. Right. What we're doing here that's breakthrough is that we're steering low frequencies in small rooms with the algorithm. So if you have that ideal implementation, the front subs are going to be used to create an initial wave that avoids the floor and ceiling and the sidewalls. It's directed towards the listening area. So you're eliminating standing waves being created there. And then as that wave passes through the seats and reaches the back wall, the rear subs act mostly as absorbers to absorb that wave, eliminating that standing wave front to back. Right. And the result that you get is much lower decay times in the bass, so the muddiness disappears.
Mm-hmm.
You get more impact because there's more energy going to the seats and it's not being masked by anything hanging around in the room. And the seat-to-seat variation in your multi-seat theater becomes unprecedentedly consistent.
Nice.
You can get plus or minus 2 dB in a multi-seat theater. It could be a 12-seat theater, as we've done at CEDIA, which fits the CEDIA RP22 standard for
Mm-hmm.
just 2 seats in a level 4 theater, so that we can reach the highest level for every seat in the theater. Now, having said that, you can get the benefits of waveforming with as few as 4 subwoofers. You have to have 2 that act as the emitters in the front and 2 in the back, primarily absorbers, ideally at the quarter points of the width of the wall. And with that, you will get a major reduction in decay time. You'll get a big increase in impact. You may not get as much seat-to-seat consistency as if you put more subwoofers in, but it will still be improved.
Sure.
So anyone who has an altitude or is considering an altitude will be able to implement this. They just need 4 subwoofers to start and 4 channels in the altitude.
But you did say that you said that it requires the subs to be built into a baffle wall or a wall.
If you're looking for the full presentation, for the full benefit, you would place them in the wall. They would go off the floor and down from the ceiling. Right. That gives us maximum control. If you just have the subs on the floor, you're basically going to have what we call cylindrical waveforming. So it's only going to work in one plane.
Okay.
If you've got a theater with tiered seating, then you're going to benefit from having that second row of subs.
Okay.
And you can have fewer subs in the back. The front subs are more critical.
Okay. So yeah, waveforming is very impressive, and just in general, the Trinnov is a fantastic piece of hardware for the home theater enthusiast, and it's not cheap. But one thing I've kind of a myth that I've been busting in my room lately is that my room is not ideal. I have an open doorway right here that goes upstairs to the living room, which is an open concept. I've got, a little hallway over here. It's not a perfect room. But there's kind of that idea sometimes I think people get of, my room's not perfect. I could never benefit from that. And what I'm realizing is with a more powerful brain for your home theater, it's really worth the investment, because that's how you make up for a lot of the shortcomings of your room, is with something like the optimizer or, some of the other systems that are available.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case.
Yeah.
That's something we sometimes run into people who say, well, I'm just doing a media room.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you're doing a media room in a $30 million house. It's somebody in Hollywood. They probably would like to have. Now, the designer's not going to let them put treatments in, but you're going to get a huge benefit if you actually have some room correction taking place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been kind of eye-opening as I've upgraded some of the equipment in my rack to really hear my room sounding in a way that I never would have expected this room would sound, because of making the investment and upgrading to the things that I would have again assumed a couple of years ago. It's not worth it with a room that's imperfect. So don't rule it out. If you have the budget, it's probably the best investment you could make in your sound system in your theater in an imperfect room, is to invest in a really, really powerful processor that can repair some of the things that the room breaks when that signal comes through.
Yeah, that's why we call it a loudspeaker room optimizer.
Yep. Excellent. All right, Chuck, I appreciate you coming on today and talking about this. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to hear the Lumagen room and what
Yeah.
that's going to sound like. And I'm also excited to go check out I've never heard Crix, so I'm interested in hearing that room. But I'll hear all of them while I'm there,
Yeah.
and we'll take a look at the new the web interface, the software, the demos that you'll be given for that, and I'm looking forward to another CEDIA.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we're going to do a press conference or a press event of some sort, and I'll make sure you're on the list, on the
Excellent.
invite for that. I don't think we've set the date yet for that.
All right. Sounds great. All right.
Okay. Terrific.
Thanks, Chuck.
Yep. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you in Denver.
Sounds good.